No, I think the people that, if you look at January 6th, which a lot of people aren't talking about very much, I think those people were treated very harshly when you compare them to other things that took place in this country where a lot of people were killed. Nobody was killed on January 6th. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken, I've spoken to the biggest crowds. Nobody's spoken to crowds bigger than me. If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, his great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people, if not, we had more. And they said he had 1 million people, but I had 25,000 people. But when you look at the exact same picture, and everything's the same because it was the fountains, the whole thing, all the way back to from Lincoln to Washington, and you look at it, and you look at the picture of his crowd, my crowd, we actually had more people. They said I had 25,000, and he had 1 million people, and I'm okay.
This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. To paraphrase a federal judge, there is a weird stew in the mind of Donald Trump. And you just heard a clip of it right there, where he has tried to once again rewrite history in a revisionist way and claim that there was no one who perished during January 6th. This is back to the MAGA conspiracy theory that's a lie to the American people, that January 6th was literally just a walk in the park from the ellipse to the Capitol by peaceful protesters, and all of the gladiator-like medieval battles led by Donald Trump's Jan 6th insurrectionists are to be ignored, including the hundreds of thousands of hours of video footage showing battles by his followers with Metro and Capitol Police outnumbered, outmatched, unable to hold the line as they try to protect the staff and elected officials inside from being hanged or worse. Now Donald Trump has gone as far in this sprawling, chaotic, lurching, almost demonic press conference in which he said that not only was that January 6th did not result in anyone losing their life. No one perished, according to him. Apparently it was just a Capitol tour that got out of control. That's what MAGA, led by Donald Trump, would have you believe. And nobody's buying this. Inside the wood paneling of courtrooms, judges like Judge Chutkin chastise frequently Donald Trump and his lawyers for minimizing the allegations against him. And this is just another chapter from that same book, another page from that same hymnal coming out of the weird stew, the dangerous stew of Donald Trump's mind. That's what we're watching. Donald Trump unhinged, unfiltered, untethered to reality. The reality is, as a bipartisan report, not the Jan 6 committee, a bipartisan report that was prepared looking at what happened at Jan 6 and the failings around Jan 6 concluded. There were at least 9 people in total who perished that day. I defy you to talk to me about a peaceful protest in which 9 people, mostly police officers, lost their life. A review of the security planning and response failures on January 6th should be required reading by Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, Shady Vance. That was issued by the Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs and the Committee on Rules and Administration, a completely bipartisan committee of both the House and the Senate. And when they looked at it, they said there were a total of 9 people. Let's talk about the Capitol Police. It's time to say their name. The Capitol Police and the Metro Police, who are no longer with us because of the events and the attack on the Capitol on January 6th. You've got one Donald Trump should know quite well because he's being sued by the estate of Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick, who was viciously attacked by the mob that was fomented and created by Donald Trump. And he died just a day or two after Jan 6th. Metro Police Officer Jeff Smith is no longer with us. Capitol Police Officer Howard Liebensgood is no longer with us. But we're not done. Metro Police Officer Gunther Hashida, no longer with us. Kyle DeFreitag, no longer with us, all as a direct result of the Jan 6th attack led by Donald Trump. And to continue his attempt, his art of distraction, diversion, and outright lies to the American people, as you just heard in that clip. Donald Trump has also, as he loves to talk about his size, it's another weird Freudian part of that mind stew that I started this hot take with. He likes to compare his size to everything. We always heard about his inaugural crowd was bigger than Obama's. That's a lie. His rally recently was bigger than the one for Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, and Tim Walz. That's a lie. But the one that really gets my goat is the one where he tries to compare himself indirectly or directly to Martin Luther King Jr., the great civil rights leader, and almost spiritual leader for the American people during a trying time in the 1960s. Particularly, Donald Trump said his speech on the ellipse, the one that led to the those 9 people, those Metro and Capitol Police no longer being here, along with, by the way, a handful of MAGA Trumpers who are also no longer here because they were either crushed, were stopped by law enforcement from attacking elected officials, overdosed, or had a stroke or heart attack. There's that group too. Summertime sadness or the blahs creeping in? Is the heat impacting your focus? Looking for some levity, but need to embrace life with your hands on the wheel? Enhance your everyday with Via. Via is a company dedicated to harnessing the natural benefits of hemp to create high-quality wellness products. From setting the mood in the bedroom to chilling out after a long day, Via has something for you. With award-winning THC and THC-free gummies, Via has a dosage to encourage your comfort. No need to block off hours of the day for an unproductive high when you can experience the full spectrum of benefits from cannabis and hemp products with a microdose of THC to give you a little boost without compromising your responsibilities. Via is also well-renowned for their premium indoor THCA flower, soothing topicals, and calming drops, all crafted with the highest quality hemp sourced from trusted, independently owned American farms. And the best part? Via legally ships to all 50 states in discreet packaging directly to your door with a worry-free guarantee. No medical card required. Trusted by over 500,000 happy customers for their wellness needs, Via is the brand everyone's raving about. So if you're over 21 years old, check out our link to Via's website in our description for 15% off. Unlock the power of nature this summer with Via's organic and vegan hemp extracts, perfect for relaxation and rejuvenation. Via is the only lifestyle hemp brand. They use compounds found in hemp along with active plant extracts to create products, each with a specific effect in mind. Whether you want to get better sleep, ease anxiety, enhance your mood, or just get high, they have something for you. They also have zero THC products if THC isn't for you. You can still take advantage of their CBD line with products designed for sleep focus and energy that will keep you glowing all summer long. Their products range from 0 milligrams to 100 milligrams of THC, so these guys have you covered whether you're looking to microdose or enjoy more potent effects. Farmed and crafted with care in the United States and sourced from the finest hemp for your peace of mind and lab tested and certified. If you're over 21 years old, check out the link to Via in our description and use the code LEGALAF to receive 15% off. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them Legal AF sent you. Enhance your everyday with Via. I mean, you think Donald Trump would at least recognize his MAGA cult followers that are no longer here. What's the family of Ashley Babbitt, for instance, to make of Donald Trump saying that no one died on January 6th, let alone the others, crushed, heart attack, stroke, overdose, all on Jan 6th, all related to Jan 6th. Donald Trump doesn't want to have blood on his hands related to his own followers, let alone the valor of the Capitol, the valor of the Capitol and Metro Police. Talk about stolen valor. You know, J.D. Vance likes to use these, and Trump likes to use these word salad phrases that have no context and no meaning. And they are not the moral authority to be bringing this argument about, for instance, Tim Waltz's, our next vice president's Army military record. I'll do a separate hot take on that one, since that one's near and dear to my heart. My dad was in the Army. My dad was in the National Guard. I'll talk about that in a separate hot take. But talk about the valor of the one. Why doesn't Donald Trump acknowledge, because he can't, the valor of the 5 law enforcement that are no longer with us because of his actions? At least one of which, well, there's 2 separate lawsuits where he's going to have to answer for his crimes before Judge Maida in the District of Columbia. One brought by the Metro police officers, including the families that the people I just talked about, and one brought by the Capitol police officers led by Brian Sicknick's estate, who is no longer with us because he was beaten senseless and mercilessly by Donald Trump's crowd. But Donald Trump doesn't want blood on his hands. He doesn't. And so he compares his 25,000 armed and dangerous insurrectionists who he didn't want to have go through the magnetometer, the metal detector, because they were his people and they weren't going to attack him, to Martin Luther King Jr.'s August 1963 I Have a Dream speech at the Lincoln Memorial. Let me let that land on the table and resonate for a moment. Donald Trump is inadvertently or directly, inadvertently is the wrong word, he is indirectly or directly comparing himself once again to a great leader like Martin Luther King Jr. He's compared himself to Jesus Almighty before that. And this is okay, apparently, with some part of his base that believes it's appropriate because they degrade Martin Luther King Jr. and his memory. We've seen MAGA go after him and say he was just a man. He was a man with weaknesses. He shouldn't be celebrated. There shouldn't be your Martin Luther King Jr. Day. There shouldn't be a Juneteenth Day. You hear it. And you hear it in the way he says, well, they say he had 1 million. He had at least 1 million. Take a look at the photo. And I had 25,000. But I'll give it up to him because I have great respect for Martin Luther King Jr. Calls him Martin Luther King, but it's Martin Luther King Jr. Think about the depravity that is coming out of this guy's pie hole and demonstrates that weird stew, dangerous stew of his brain. And this is how he wants to be judged, and he should be judged, about whether he's entitled to be an occupant of the White House again, or if he's unfit for duty and should be disqualified. It's bad enough that Mr. Flatfoot or weak ankles or whatever the reason was that he couldn't serve this country in time of peace or war when he was old enough to do that, Donald Trump, and J.D. Vance, who carried around not really a rifle, but a typewriter and a camera while he was deployed in the Marines, not seeing frontline duty, not receiving any medals of valor, feel that they have the moral authority to take on Tim Walz. Talk about that again in another hot take. Because after 24 years of serving our country, he decided to serve our country again as a congressperson from a rural district in Minnesota. And for that, J.D. Vance, one-time book author, that's all he's accomplished in his life, part-time senator for several months, failed Silicon Valley venture capitalist, phony hillbilly, never thought I'd have to put those words together, have gone after him. But think about the depravity of claim, and think about talk about untethered to reality. Are we watching the beginnings of dementia with Donald Trump? Is that what we're watching? He can't remember that people are no longer here because he led them into an insurrectionist battle against Capitol and Metro Police to try to take the life and assassinate elected officials and their staff. He can't remember that. I know he's delusional. I know he wants to operate in an alternate universe where facts don't matter because he's in all these criminal prosecutions. But come on, man. At least get the facts straight. We can debate, I assume, what they mean and their context, but get the facts straight. especially when it comes to human life. We'll continue to call it out here on the MeidasTouch Network, especially when it matters to us at the intersection of law and politics on Legal AF at the intersection of law and politics. Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we curate the top 4 or 5 stories at that intersection. We bring it to you as practicing lawyers the only way we know how, without blowing smoke or sunshine. And then you can pick us up on audio podcast platforms of your choice. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting. Heary, heary, Legal AF Law Breakdown is now in session. Go beyond the headlines and get a deep dive into the important legal concepts you need to know and we discuss every day on Legal AF. Exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, all for the price of a couple of cups of coffee. Join us at patreon.com/legalaf. That's patreon.com/legalaf.